Recently, my son celebrated his 18th birthday, and that was a very big occasion for him, and me too, and his mother. And I was really surprised when he came to me and he said, Dad, I'm 18 years old now, and I'm really feeling like a grown-up. I'm really feeling like a man. He said, I'd like to have a man-to-man talk with you. I said, oh, you would you? He said, yes, I would. I said, well, son, what would you like to talk about? And he really shocked me with his answer. He said, Dad, I'd like to have a man-to-man talk with you about life. I said, huh? He said, yeah, life. He said, Dad, I'd like to have a man-to-man talk with you about life. I said, well, that's what we'll do. If my son wants to have a talk about life, doggone it, we'll just have a talk about life. I said, now, do you want honest answers, or do you want me to just tell you what you want to hear? He said, oh, no, Dad. He said, no, he said, I want honest answers. He said, I don't want any dishonesty. He said, I want straightforward, honest answers, Dad. No dishonesty, please. I said, all right. If you can take it, I'll dish it out. I said, you go ahead and start. What would you like to talk about? And he surprised me. He said, Dad, how has your life been? He said, how has your life worked out for you? He said, has it been everything that you wanted it to be? And I said, well, since my son wants honest answers, I'm going to give him honest answers. And I told him, I said, no, my life has not worked out the way I thought it would work out. It has not been what I thought it would be. And my son was surprised to hear that. Oh, I could tell by the look on his face and how big his eyes got. He said, really, Dad? I said, no, my life has not been what I thought it would be at all. He said, what went wrong, Dad? I said, oh, it wasn't necessarily a matter of something going wrong. I said, things just didn't work out the way I thought they would work out. He said, well, give me some examples, Dad. He said, oh my goodness, I never dreamed. He said, give me some examples. What didn't turn out the way you thought it would? I said, well, I always thought I'd be a professional baseball player. And oh boy, he laughed. My son laughed right in my face. I said, hey, don't you make fun of me. He said, oh no, Dad, I don't mean to laugh at you like that. But he said, you, a professional baseball player? I said, yes, me, a professional baseball player. I said, I always dreamed that I would be a professional baseball player. I said, me and my three best buddies. I said, Winston Lomar and Bobby Laydale and Luther Travers. I said, oh man, the four of us were going to be the four greatest baseball players in history. And my son just looked at me, and there was this big grin on his face. He wanted to laugh out loud again, but he just grinned. I said, yeah. I said, you better not laugh at me. He said, oh, Dad, I just can't believe this. You thought you would be a professional baseball player? I said, I sure did, boy. I said, that was my dream. I said, that was my dream, to be a professional baseball player. I said, oh, boy, Winston and Bobby and Luther and I said, oh, man. I said, we just knew we were going to be professional baseball. I said, that's all we did all summer long. And even sometimes in the winter when it was cold and snowing, we'd still go out to the sandlot and try to play baseball. We just knew we were going to be baseball players. I said, oh my goodness. I said, but it was pretty obvious that we were dreaming. I said, it was pretty obvious that we were dreaming. I said, you see, Winston had a crooked foot. I said, Winston had a crooked foot, and he couldn't run a straight line to save his soul, and it took forever for him to get from home plate to first base, so there was no way Winston was going to be a professional baseball player. And I said, Bobby had a bad back. I said, anytime a ball was hit to him and he would try to pick it up, oh, the pain in his back would kill him, but he would do it. He would pick that ball up anyway. He played through all that pain because he just knew that all of that suffering was going to get him into the major leagues one day. And I said, Luther, one of Luther's arms was shorter than the other one. I said, so there was just no hope for him. And I said, for me, I had weak arms. I said, son, I had a weak right arm and a weak left arm, and I said, oh, I was just no good, son. I said, I couldn't throw and I couldn't catch that good. But I said, somehow, foolishly, we all thought we would be professional baseball players. And so my son said, well, Dad, whatever happened to your friends? I said, well, son, it's a sad story about what happened to my friends. I said, Bobby got killed at the age of 31. I said he was trying to rob a liquor store. And my son said, what? I said, oh, yeah. I said, yeah, Bobby got killed at the age of 31 trying to rob a liquor store. And I said, my friend Winston, he drowned in Tennessee. Somewhere, I said, I never found out any details. It was horrible. But he drowned in a river or a lake somewhere in Tennessee. He was only 41 years old. I said, yeah, Bobby was only 31 when he got shot to death, and I said, Winston was only 41 when he drowned somewhere in Tennessee. And I said, Luther committed suicide. He was only 35. I said, I have no details about his suicide. I said, but that's what happened to my three friends. We just never, we never made it to the major leagues. We never made it to the minor leagues. We never even played high school ball. I said, but son, that's what I always thought my life was going to be like. I said, I had never planned for my life to be the way it turned out. I said, no, I was going to be a professional baseball. And my son just shook his head. He said, boy, what a shock, Dad. Said, I never would have thought anything like that. I said, well, I know you never would have thought anything like that. I said, I know you never would have thought anything like your old man wanted to be a professional baseball player, but that was me. And he said, well, what else, Dad? What else didn't turn out right? I said, well, I never wanted to go to the military. I said, but I got drafted when I was 19 years old, and I wound up in the Vietnam War. I said, I never wanted to go to the military. I said, boy, that changed my life. I said, what I went through changed my way of thinking, my outlook on life, and I said, I never thought it would happen to me, son. I said, I saw a lot of boys that I knew going into the military, but I never thought it would happen to me. I always thought something would keep me out, I thought something would keep me out of the military. But no, I went in. I was drafted, and I went in, and I did my 2 years of duty. But it changed me, son. I said, it changed me. And my son said, well, gee, Dad, I always thought you joined the military. I said, oh, no, I didn't join the military. He said, yeah, see, he said, boy, I just had everything wrong. I said, yeah, you sure did. He said, yeah, I saw the picture of you in your uniform all these years, and I just thought you had joined them. I said, no, I didn't join. I said, but I did my 2 years of duty with honor. I said, but it changed me. I said, it really changed me from the person that I had been. He said, wow. I said, Dad, that's really a shock to me. He said, well, tell me something else. What else was different about your life? I said, well, your mother was not the first girl that I wanted to marry. He said, what? I said, no. I said, your mother was not the first girl that I wanted to marry. I said, there was another girl. I said, there was another girl. I said, she and I worked together in a restaurant after I got out of the military. I got a job in a restaurant. I was a cook at that restaurant. I wasn't a big-time cook, but at least it was a job, and she worked as a waitress at that restaurant, and I said, yeah, that was the first girl that I fell in love with. I said, I won't bother telling you her name, but I wanted to marry her. And my son was just looking at me, and his eyes were getting big. He said, oh my goodness, Dad. Said, if Mom knew this, she would kill you. I said, you better believe she would. You better not say a word. I said, this was a private talk between you and me. You better. He said, oh no, I won't repeat any of it. I said, you better not repeat any of it. I said, yeah, but that girl at that restaurant, she was a waitress and I was a cook. I said, that was the first girl that I wanted to marry. I said, but her parents didn't want her to marry me. They figured I was too poor. they figured I was too poor. So later on, I met your mom, and we got married. And my son said, well, were you still in love with this other woman when you married my mom? I said, I sure was. My son laughed. He said, boy, I'm telling you, Dad, Mom would kill you. I said, yes, she would now. And I said, that's why I'd say, you better not say a word. I said, you better not say a word to your mother. I said, yeah, I was still in love with that other girl for 10 years after I married your mother. And then I said, slowly, I got her out of my system. I said, but, oh yeah. I said, yeah, I was in love with another girl before I met your mother. I was in love with her 10 years even after I married your mom. I said, but you better not ever say a word. I said, it's a private talk between you and me. He said, okay, Dad, I won't say anything. I won't say anything. I won't say anything. I said, you know something else, son? I said, I always wanted to be a businessman. I always wanted to have my own business. I said, boy, I wanted to be a big-time businessman. And I said, you know, 3 other guys and I, we got together and we formed our own automobile repair shop. I said, we were all pretty good at working on cars. And I said, 3 other guys and I, we got together when I was a lot younger, and we formed our own automobile repair shop. And we had it for a couple of years. And my son said, well, what happened, Dad? Why did you let it go? I said, my 3 partners were stealing from me. I said, that's exactly what happened. I said, my 3 partners turned out to be a bunch of lousy, no-good thieves. I said, we were all working and they were stealing as much of the money as they could, and I said, that hurt me very badly. I said, oh, that hurt me very badly, son. I said, I loved having my business, even if I was just a partner. I loved being in business and everything. I said, but it just hurt me so bad to know that my partners were stealing from me. I said, but at least we had, you know, the business for 2 years, but it could have been big. I said, son, we could have been big, but yeah, it turned out that my 3 partners were a bunch of lousy, no-good thieves. And my son said, wow, Dad, I never knew that. I said, no, that was before you were born. I said, all of that happened before you were born. I said, you know something else about life, son? I said, I always wanted to live in California. I never wanted to stay here in the Midwest. He said, California? I said, I sure did. I said, I always wanted to live in California. I said, but your mother wanted to stay here in the Midwest, you know, so she could be near her family. I said, yep. I said, your mother wanted to stay here in the Midwest, and so I did what she wanted to do. I said, but for me personally, I wanted to go out west. I wanted to live in California. I said, but I just stayed on here because of your mother. And my son said, wow, Dad, that was quite a sacrifice for you. I said, yes, it was. I said, but those are the kind of things you do when you get married and have children, son. I said, your life changes. I said, your life changes. When you get married and have children, your life changes. A lot of the things you wanted, you begin to realize you're not going to get, and you have to settle for what you can get. I said, I realized, I said, well, I guess I'm not going to live in California. And I said, so I'll just make the best of living here in the Midwest. And so I did that, son. I said, I did that. He said, whoa, just think. I could have been a California kid. I said, you sure could have. I said, if it had been up to me, you would have been a California kid. I said, but I stayed on here in the Midwest to satisfy your mom. And I said, you know what, son, I love show business too. He said, what? I said, oh yeah. I said, oh boy, I love show business. I said, you know, I'm a good piano player and I'm a good dancer. And if I'd have stayed single, I said, boy, I'd have probably gone into show business. He said, oh my goodness, Dad, so you've got to be kidding. I said, no, boy, I'm not kidding you. I said, if I hadn't gotten married, I probably would have gone into show business. I'm telling you, I said, I was a darn good piano player. I still can get down, you know, pretty good, and a dancer. I was a pretty good dancer. I said, oh yeah, I think I could have made it in show business. I said, but, you know, I got no support. I said, my family didn't want me to do it, and your mom's family didn't want me to do it. They said, no, you're a husband now, you're a father. And you can't be fooling around with stuff like that, so I didn't make any attempt to get in there. But yeah, boy, that's in my heart even today. I still love show business. I love entertaining. But I had a family to take care of. I had a wife to take care of. So I did the right thing. I let my dreams go on down the drain. I let my dreams go by, and I did the right thing. Yep. Yes, indeed. I said, boy, there's a lot about me you didn't know. I said, man, there's so much about me you didn't know. I said, oh yeah, but those were the things that I wanted in life. I said, there's so much about me that you didn't know. He said, Dad, did you ever drink? I said, no. I said, I never messed with alcohol. I said, in my whole lifetime, I think I drank half a glass of wine and half a glass of beer. I said, that was it. I said, I couldn't stand the stuff. He said, really? I said, no. I said, no. He said, well, how about smoking? Did you ever smoke? I said, no, never smoked. I said, I never smoked. I said, I gave it a try. I said, I think I smoked maybe 2 cigarettes in my lifetime. He said, boy, I said, Dad, you're a strange man. I said, yes, I am. He said, I'm so glad I decided to have this talk with you. He said, I just, he said, he said, I don't know anybody like you, Dad. I said, I said, hey, I am me. I don't try to be anything other than what I am. I said, I am me. And I said, I'm glad to be talking to you. I said, I'm glad to. He said, Dad, did you ever belong to any kind of gang, teenage gang where you guys just went around, had fun, maybe got into a little trouble? I said, no, never did that either. He said, what? I said, nope. I said, I never did anything like that. I said, I never cared for that kind of nonsense. And he said, well, Dad, what did you do? He said, how did you spend your childhood and your young years and all like that? He said, what did you do? I said, movies. I said, boy, I lived at the movies and watching television. I said, in my day, son, you could get into the movies for 20 cents. You could buy a bag of popcorn for a dime. You could buy a candy bar for a dime. I said, you could go to the movies for 20 cents and see 2 movies and 5 cartoons, boy. I said, I had a wonderful time growing up. I spent so much of my time in the movies. I said, I told you, boy, I loved entertainment. I loved entertainment and I loved baseball. And I just figured, I'm either going to be a baseball player or an entertainer. Don't you see, son? Those were my 2 dreams. I said, but neither one of them worked out. I said, I had a family to take care of, and I did the right thing. I gave up all my dreams and took care of my family. I said, yeah, I spent my young years. I said, boy, I spent so much time in the movies. I said, oh, yeah. Yeah, it was something. I said, but I'm not disappointed with the life I've had, son. I said, I'm not disappointed. I said, you can't take that attitude. I said, no, you can't take that attitude. I said, nobody knows what life is going to offer them. I said, life is too big, boy. Life is too great. I said, life is not a piece of clay that you can mold to be anything you want it to be. He said, well, Dad, I'm amazed. He said, I'm so glad that I had this little chat with you. He said, I never dreamed anything like this. I said, I know you didn't, boy. And I said, I never would have told you if you hadn't asked. I said, you asked for this now. You asked me to have this little talk with you, and you didn't want any dishonesty. You did not want any dishonesty. You wanted honesty. And this is what I'm giving you, boy. This is what I'm giving. He said, well, Dad, what do you think about it? I said, I have no idea what your life is going to be. I said, that's what you were going to ask me. You were going to ask me what did I think your life is going to be like. I had no idea, son. I said, I have no idea what your life is going to be. And I said, really, you don't either. I said, you might make some plans, and I'm sure you have dreams and things like that. I said, but you don't know what's going to happen, boy. I said, you don't know what's going to happen. I said, you just have to be strong and tough and intelligent. I said, you want to be intelligent, son. I said, yeah. I said, an intelligent man is a strong man. The 2 go together. An intelligent man is a strong man. The 2 go together. I said, you want to be intelligent so you'll be strong and you'll be able to cope with life. And so my son said, Dad, did you go to college, or did you ever want to go to college? I said, no, I didn't go to college. I said, I went to the military like I told you. I said, I went to the military like I told you. I didn't go to college. And I said, you know, I really don't think I ever wanted to. I don't think I ever really wanted to go to college. And my folks weren't able to send me to college anyway, boy. I said, my folks didn't have that kind of money. I said, I was satisfied with the schooling that I got. And then I've learned so much since I got out of school. I said, you got to realize that. I said, you got to realize that. I've learned so much since I got out of school. I said, but no, I don't think I ever wanted to go to college. I said, what about you, son? Do you want to go? He said, you know what, Dad? I think I do. He said, I think I want to go. He said, do you think you and Mom can afford to send me? I said, oh, we'll find a way. I said, boy, if you want to go to college, I said, we'll find a way to send you. I said, what do you want to study? What do you want to be? He said, well, I'm not sure yet, Dad. He said, I thought I might take some general courses at first and until I decide what I want to do. But he said, I think I want to go. And he said, I'll probably try to play sports when I get there. He said, I know I can't get a scholarship. I'm not that good. He said, but you've seen me play basketball. I said, oh, yeah. He said, I think I'll try to make the basketball team when I get to a college, but I know I can't get a scholarship. I'm not that good. He said, but yeah, I think I want that experience, Dad. I think I want to have the experience of going to college just to see what it's like, and I want to be something. I want to make you and Mom proud of me. I said, oh, I think you'll do that, son. I said, I think you'll make your mother and me proud of you. He said, well, Dad, I hope so. He said, I hope so. He said, the horrible thing is I would hate for you and Mom to spend a lot of money sending me to school and then I turn out to disappoint you. I said, well, son, you know something that would be even worse than that? I said, if you disappointed yourself. I said, that's what your mother and I would hate to see. Your mother and I would hate to see you disappoint yourself. I said, so don't think so much about us. I said, think about yourself. Think about pleasing yourself. Don't think so much about pleasing your mother and me. I said, you think about pleasing yourself. If you're going to go to college, you do something, you try to be something to please yourself. And I said, if you do that, you'll probably wound up pleasing your mother and me. He said, wow. He said, Dad, that's great advice. He said, that is just terrific advice. He said, you know, I'm glad I've got you as a father. I said, well, I'm glad I've got you as a son. I said, you've been pretty darn good. I said, you haven't given us any trouble, and I said, you're just about through with your schooling. I said, what, 2-3 more months you'll be graduating, and I said, we're proud of you, boy. I said, we're proud of you. And I said, I think we'll be going to, even prouder in the future. He said, well, Dad, I sure am proud of you and Mom. I said, well, I appreciate that. I said, I appreciate that. I said, so you're glad we had a little talk? He said, boy, am I ever. He said, boy, am I ever. And so I got up out of my chair, and my son got up out of his chair, and we hugged each other, and then we shook hands, and I wished him luck. I wished him luck in life. I said, son, I wish you luck in life. I hope you have a good life. I said, I hope you have as good a life as I've had. I said, even though I didn't get the things I wanted, I said, hey, I've had a good life. I said, I wish you luck, son. And he smiled at me, and I said to myself, I think I've got myself a pretty good son. Yes, sir, I think I've got myself a pretty good son.